Right. Welcome in, everybody, to Speaking of the Devils. I'm your host, Ryan Novozinsky, joining you from my home studio right here in lovely downtown Ewing, New Jersey. We have a very special guest joining us here on the show today. For the first time ever, we have a live guest joining us here on NJ.com's YouTube destination for all things New Jersey Devils. A man who probably needs no introduction, but we will give him one anyway. Hockey Hall of Famer, three-time Stanley Cup champ, four-time Vezina Trophy winner, noted jersey designer, Martin Brodeur joins the show. Marty, how are you? Did I forget any other accolades there?
That's plenty. Thank you.
Rocket power voice actor?
Not really.
Marty, let's start with the jersey, man. I mean, what is it like to see this retired? I mean, it feels like you have another jersey retired now, you know?
It was a good project when I came in back to New Jersey from St. Louis. I was on the business side, and they kind of asked me to assist on creating a jersey. I know people were hungry to have a black jersey finally in our arsenal. So, that's just kind of the way it happened a little bit. Kind of got some help from some good people at the Devils and at the league to try to figure out something that would be pretty cool that people would remember. Didn't see the hat coming though. After that, that came out of nowhere a little bit, but I think it made a lot of noise, so that was good. But like anything, you retired that, and I'm sure something else going to pop up.
So you're not in charge of the next jersey, the next alternate jersey, because
No.
I heard there is one.
Yeah, I heard there's one too. I didn't see it yet, so we'll see.
We'll see, man.
But I'm not in charge at all.
There you go. Marty, let's kind of like blend the modern Devils, who are off to a really good start this year, obviously, with your Devils. So those Devils teams, I mean, you guys obviously won 3 cups and were built through a heavy defensive style, and obviously yourself. How do you think you guys would fare in the NHL today with a lot of these high pace, high goal scoring teams? And calls are a little tighter too.
Well, the game was a lot different back then. Like when we played we played really well in neutral zone. The reason why is like they had the red line. They had to gain the red line to make plays, and we forced them into dumping the puck and really break momentum of teams. Now, without the red line, it's totally a different game. But everything has an era. I think right now the skill of the players is tremendous. Little different physicality type of game, around the net, how guys are able to get to loose pucks before then. When you had Ken Danik and Scott Stevens start whacking people around, like guys were thinking twice about just hanging out for fun around the net. So, I think it's just a different era. I think the hockey right now is fun to watch. I'm fortunate enough to see a lot of hockey, and the skill level of the players. We have some really skilled players, but you look around the league, the Zegras, the Connor Bedard, McDavid, all these young guys coming in, Celebrani, and the talent is through the roof right now. A lot different than the teams were built back then.
And I feel like two goalies are deployed differently, vastly different. 70 games you used to play, goalies now, I feel like it's a feat if they do that. Michael Jordan was just asked about load management in the NBA. What do you think about load management in the NHL for these goalies? Or did you feel like you needed those 70 starts?
I like to play. I always give the example. If Scott Stevens was able to play 82 games, my job was a lot easier than his. So I don't know why I couldn't play as many games as I could. So I have not an issue with it, but I think we're catering a lot to the goalies now, and but the talent of goalies now, guys have better duos than maybe back when I played.
Those vintage Devils teams, they seem to embrace that small market, shadow of New York kind of mentality. Do you get the same vibe from these Devils? Do you tell them anything about the rivalries or anything like that, and kind of playing in the shadows, so to speak? I know we talked about this a couple years ago, but I'm curious your thoughts there.
Yeah, I think it's turned around. I think when I first came back to New Jersey, you could tell there was not much of caring about the playing against the Rangers, and now you could tell the fact that we faced them a few years back in the playoffs, was able to win in a Game 7. I think it really created the rivalry back for on our side anyway with the Devils, and so all the core players have experience what it is to play the Rangers in the playoffs and how annoying their fans could be at times when they come to our building and invade it to a certain extent. So it's kind of a good thing that they pay attention to these kind of rivalries with the Flyers, with the Islanders now getting a better team. It'll be fun for years to come in the metro area. That's for sure.
I think I know what answer you're going to say, but what was your favorite road arena to play in?
There's a couple of different ones. Obviously, Montreal for me was fun because it was going back home, and it's people know hockey over there, and you get real reaction about what's going on the ice, and not just raw kind of yelling at each other or whatever. But like Chicago was fun. A bunch of places. It's so different. Obviously when I started, that was the ultimate. When you go to Maple Leaf Garden and the Montreal Forum or the Boston Garden, I had the chance to play in the Chicago Stadium the year before they took it down. These were fun buildings, and they had all of them had their own character. Not like now, it's like a cookie cutter kind of rink. Like all the new rinks are all made the same to a certain extent. The dimensions are the same. That's why it made it so fun. There was a huge home ice advantage back in the day.
I could have sworn you would have said MSG.
I liked it. I liked it in the playoffs. That's for sure.
That's right. Marty, let's talk about 2012. So obviously at 40 years old, you were able to take the Devils still all the way to the Cup, and at a time where goalies didn't really play too deep in their careers. What was the key to that success? And as you watch older guys like Markstrom and Allen, what's your advice to keep them kind of fresh?
Well, it's all about like what you want to accomplish in life. Like I wanted to win, I wanted to play. I knew my career was coming close to an end, and you don't want to give that up. That's like playing hockey is your life. You started when you were 4 or 5 years old, and at one point it's going to end. Everybody knows it's going to end. And it's the way your attitude about the game, how you're able to adjust through the different type of game that's played out there, especially for goalies, because there's so many new styles that come into play. I remember the way I played game one of my career to my last game. I'm a completely different goalie. And so I had to adjust year in, year out to try to stay relevant in my career. And the same thing with Jake and Marky. These guys are highly competitive, and that's the only way you could play long time in your career. It's like being competitive. It's hard to. It's not an attribute that comes naturally. It's something that you have in you. And so if you're able to be competitive and stay healthy, you could play a long time, especially with the talent that both these guys have.
Marty, let's get to questions about the current team. Obviously, off to a really hot start. What's been your vantage point here? 8-2. 8 games in a row. At one point, obviously, last game. You want to toss the tape there, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's going to happen. Obviously, injuries will catch up a little bit, and you could tell like it caught up on our PK last game with not having Pesci, in the lineup. So we'll have to make some adjustment for that. But I think it's a great start. Too bad we let go a point in Carolina in game one. But that's kind of the way it goes. When you're able to string 8 games in a row after, you could forget easily about that point. But I think like our special team made a big difference in those 8 wins. I think our penalty kill came out super big in a lot of different games, and our power play, regardless if we score or not, like we're dominating them. Like we're moving the puck around. I like the looks that we're having. And if we keep doing that, we're going to be successful. And Jake, while Marky got hurt, Jake stepped up, and that's why we were comfortable bringing him back this year, because knowing that he's a quality NHL player and he's gonna do some good stuff for us.
Is there right now, because I know last game, it kind of was the dominating the talk. Is there a concern level with Markstrom or at all? And what's his mindset right now coming back from the injury?
No, not at all. Games like that will happen. If you look at the quality of chances that he got, the amount of power plays that we give up, and especially him not playing for 2-3 weeks, it was a tough game for him, to be in. But he wanted to play it. He's healthy enough. He guaranteed that. He was, he probably had some good practices. I talked to my goalie coach. Everybody was real comfortable for him to be in the net. But things like that happen. He's going to bounce back. Like, he's a real pro. Not worried about that. It's about how he competes out there, and for the amount of goals that he got scored, like the amount of big saves he made, it's pretty impressive.
Everybody here, like the number one goalie that I hear about is not even on the roster yet. It's Yegorov. What's been your vantage point of him? What have you seen of him? And I know that you're obviously heavily involved with the goalie scouts and everything like that. What do they say about him? What are the reports you're getting back about this kid?
Well, I think he's a great kid. First of all, I think he's high character kid. By saying that, he was in the USHL last year, the start of the season, and things were not doing well really in Omaha where he was at. And we asked him, I go, like, do you want us to figure out something to get you a better situation? And his response was, hey, I committed to this team. I'm going to stay here. And not until like BU needed a goalie, Boston University, that he made the decision to go to college sooner. And from there, he goes into Boston, does really well, loses in the Frozen Four in the final game. This series is off to a good start, but it's little thing. He's a big boy. Really love America. He's all in. Loves going to school. Has his roots in Russia, and I think that's a great thing. His families are really important to him. But it's a kid that we have a lot of aspiration for him, but he's still a young guy. And this year he's having a decent year to start the year. The bounce back game, you see that a lot in goalies. It's like when you have a tough game, how do you respond to that tough game? And every time he's got he lays an egg somewhere, he comes back with a really good performance. So I know my scouts. I know Manny Legacy is the one that works with him the most. He's on the phone with him every week and watches his tape and go visit him. And he's loving the kid. So it's an awesome thing to have for our organization.
The Russian takeover is in full effect in New Jersey, man. You see that with Gritsyuk as well. Do you know like what? I guess you probably don't like the timeline of when he might come over, because I feel like this is kind of been a big question swirling around Devils fandom.
Yeah, I mean, it's usually you play 2 full season in college, and after that you make a decision on what he wants to do. But we'll see. The fact that he played half a season already, but the plan was for in 2 years from now to get out of there. But who knows? Like I said, he loves school. He does all that stuff. We're not in a rush. We don't want to rush him. It's going to take an adjustment for him to be from college hockey to jump into an NHL team right away. We'll see. And he's committed to take his time to be ready when he gets an opportunity. People are always, they want goalies to come in and say, hey, we'll give you this chance. But I've never played, when I got out of junior, I never got a sniff the first year. I played a whole season in Utica, and I came back and I got lucky with an injury, and that gave me my break. But I was ready for my break. And this is what we want to try to put these kids in position. Be ready, whenever that your name's going to be called, you're going to be on the stage, and if you can't perform, now there's a little bit of a setback. So it's important for you to be ready when you get that chance, and that's what we're trying to do in our development with our players. It's like, as much as you can, try to be patient. We're fortunate now we're able to be patient. 4 years ago, we weren't patient because we had no choice. We didn't have the talent. We're trying to get to where we're at now, but now we're here. And we have a lot of depth in all facets of our organization. And so we take our time. You look at Gritsyuk, we drafted him 4 years ago. This is his first time in North America, and you could tell like he's ready. He played 4 years pro, 3 years pro in the KHL, and that really prepped him to be ready to jump in right away in the NHL without going to the American Hockey League.
And I feel like too, you just see it's interesting seeing Gritsyuk come over and immediately, because you feel like you thought that he was just going to be a shot, like he was just going to be a scorer, and then he ends up being this kind of all-around player. Like, what's that been like for you guys in the front office there?
I mean, yeah, we knew, like, our guys. You can't forget that nobody's seen him live beside our Russian scouts for the last 3 years, because we weren't allowed to go into Russia to take a look at him. And so we watched a lot of tapes, but we always think you get a Russian guy, maybe he's going to be like a really skilled guy that's going to force play, turn pucks over. And so far, he's shown completely something different. He protects the puck. He dumps it. It doesn't take long shifts. Obviously, he's got a killer of a shot. Wish he could hit the net a little more. But you know what? He gets it off so quick, and he surprises a lot of people. So it's been a great addition to our club this year, that's for sure.
Martin Brodeur joining us here on Speaking of the Devils. Marty, I'm gonna ask you two last questions, then I'll ask a couple fan submitted questions if you don't mind. The This is just kind of about your front office career, man. I mean, I feel like you always get the questions like, "Oh, do you have any GM aspirations?" But have you first? Do you? And two, what? How have you been enjoying this? Like, this is a little interesting, kind of like post career for you. And I know that like travel wise, it's been interesting for you because you kind of like go back and forth from St. Louis, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
what's this
it's
whole thing been like?
it's been fun. I think at the end of my career was always when am I going to do when I'm going to retire? I'm just going to be like 43 years old or 42 years old, and that's old for an NHL player to retire. But it's still like I still got a lot of stuff to do. I wanted to learn as much as I could. And that's why I jumped right away with the Blues and being an assistant general manager. Was able to move back to New Jersey 3 years later and work on the business side a little bit. And now for my fourth or fifth year on the hockey side with the Devils. To me, it just keeps me involved in the game, keeps me busy. I got a 15-year-old at home, and that's kind of the reason why I go back and forth. So I could, because don't forget, like I miss my four other kids growing up because I was in the middle of my career, so I never really had a chance to go to hockey tournaments, hockey games, things at school, or all that stuff. So now I'm taking a full advantage of it. And, lucky enough, the Devils let me kind of roam around a little bit from St. Louis to New Jersey. But no, it's been good. It's been good. It's been great working with Tom Fitzgerald and Dan McKinnon. These guys, they've been here for a while and they've built the team alongside Ray Shiro at first. So it's kind of fun to see that, there's a little light at the end of the tunnel. The players are playing well. There are a lot of guys who are invested in New Jersey. And that's one of the part when I got into the hockey, I go, we got to make this a destination. I know when I played, it was hard, to get players to play in New Jersey. Now a lot of people they want to come to play in New Jersey, and that's because we get the Jack Hughes, the Luke Hughes, the Nico Isher in our team, the Jesper Bratz, Timo Meyer, like Dougie Hamilton. Like we brought some really quality people into the organization, and so a lot of people around, they want to be a part of something good.
Kind of a sports talk radio-y question for you, but how aggressive do you think the Devils will be this adding talent this year? Maybe
it's hard, like with playing with the salary cap. I'm sure we're gonna make sure that we look at our team and see what their needs are when we're gonna come down to the trade deadline, and we always want to put the best chance for our team to be successful. And so if there's moves to be made, they will be made, but there's no guarantee it's going to happen. We'll see. The players tells us what they're going to need. We're going to look at them, and if they're running with an easy playoff spot, or we're going to be fighting for a playoff spot. The players will tell us what we're going to do at the end of the day.
That is a great answer, Marty. There you go. That was a Pete Albeats answer, wasn't it? I'm joking. Totally joking.
I got his note right here. So.
All right, let's go with four fan submitted questions here. We got some interesting ones. Let's see. We're gonna start with DK here. DK asks, "Hey Marty, did you factor in at all into the decision to bring / re-sign Jake Allen? He's been amazing, and in particular, it's been great seeing some of his throwback to hybrid goaltending style." I was talking to someone yesterday, and it's like, they mentioned that it was Tyler Blazinski, my buddy Tyler, that said Jake Allen plays a little bit more like you, whereas Markstrom plays a little bit more, maybe modern. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think Jake was a guy that was high on our list when he became a free agent. We wanted to bring him back, but a lot of teams were really, really interested in him, and they were giving him a lot more money than what we're able to do for the amount of years that the other teams were giving. So whenever we were able to kind of figure out to stretch out the contract a little bit, we were really excited to have him back. It's Nico Dawes. We were really comfortable having him here as Marky's backup also. But I think right now with where we're at, I feel confident and comfortable having Nico in the minors. And already, we got a small injury. He was able to step in and played really well and won us a game. He's done that in the past, and so I think the goalie situation right now is where we want it to be.
Quick follow-up on that. Nobody's asking you anymore to play goalie for the Devils?
Not anymore.
All right. Michael Cohen asks, we're only going to take this one and then three more. Massive debate at work, I guess he's having right now. he says, is it fair to say that although massive skill is involved in hockey goaltending, is it fair to say many saves are lucky and luck plays a huge role?
Well, you create your own luck, but definitely, I mean, there's a lot of when you play goalie, like there at times you get on the power play, you could have 4 or 5 guys in front of you. The puck could change direction. But again, if you have a good basic in your game, that you're in good position at all times, and you fight. When we talk about compete earlier, it's like to fight to find the puck through traffic. Yes, it's luck, but it's created luck to a certain extent. But again, the guy's got a wide open net and he misses the net. Well, that's luck. It happens a lot. But yeah, it has, it's good luck and bad luck. Sometimes the guy shoots it wide and it goes off your D and it goes in. Like, that's just bad luck too. So I would say it's 50-50 good luck, bad luck for a goalie.
All right, we'll go rapid fire here now, Marty. Jay Snow asked if there's one area he could improve on this year's Devils team, what would it be?
I think it's obviously like the physicality of our team needs to get to a higher level. You look at with the Panthers and even Edmonton, how they competed in the playoffs. It's going to get harder and harder as we go on. And so if we do improve our physicality, and it's not just like hitting and fighting, it's like being hard on pucks, be able to take away pucks and be able to sustain pressure deep in their zone and crashing the net and getting dirty goals. That's what physicality is in hockey.
We'll go here with Aiden Reed. Aiden asks, was there ever a shooter that you thought consistently had your number?
Oh, there was a bunch of them. When you played that long, there's 2 guys. Zygmunt Palffy that played for the Islanders.
Right.
This guy, he was at least 2 breakaways a game on me somehow. And, he was just a good hockey player. And the other one is Morozov in Pittsburgh. I think his shooting percentage on me was probably 50%. So every time he had the puck, like they had sign in Pittsburgh, it said Brodeur's killer. They just it's one of those guys nobody really knows about him, but he's a guy that's probably scored like 13 goals and like 30 shots on me in his career.
That's amazing! Wow, that's that's no easy task. When's the last time you strapped on the pads? Was there any time recently that you ever did that?
No, last time was when I got inducted to the Hall of Fame in Toronto.
There you go.
Pads on in 2018.
Huh.
No, I skate forward once in a while with the guys in New Jersey when I get some time.
There you go. All right, last one, Marty. Then I'll let you go. This comes from PM Drizzles. Marty, did you have any interesting equipment quirks or preferences you had during your career, and how did they change as you played into the modern era?
Well, the thing that I had that was different was like I had a really old chest protector, and so I would use it, and I would go to all-star games, and like other goalies were like, "Are you kidding me? Are you playing with this stuff?" Like it was all beat up. And every time I would get a bruise somewhere, I would get to my trainer. I go, "Can you put a little piece of plastic here?" And like it was patched up everywhere. And at one point, like it became such a problem that I had no choice to get a brand new chest protector.
Oh.
And I didn't want to wear a new chest protector. So what I did, I went to CCM back in the day, and I go, "Is there anybody in the league that send you back one of their old chest protector? Can you send me a bunch of them? I'll try them out." And Pekka Rinne used one for a year and he sent it back. So it was broken in already a little bit. And so I took it and I played the rest of my career with it. So I only really played with 2 chest protector for 23 years in this league.
That's amazing. So it's all thanks to Pekka Rinne. That's crazy. Yeah. So did you get like a bunch of them, or did they just send you one? Like did he?
No, they sent about 4 or 5 of them, like
nice.
Different kinds, different stiffness, different brands, and this one was a Pekka Rinne one that I used. Still have it in my basement.
That's so cool, Marty. Thank you so much for doing this, man. We can't thank you enough for taking the time out. If you want to just, because this is the first time we've done a live show, if you want to just press the red X button, it should be on your screen. We thank you a lot for joining us.
All right. I don't see it, but I'll just turn off my computer.
There you go. Even better.
Thank you.
Have a good one, man. That was Marty Brodeur joining here. Oh, hold on. Gonna kick him out. Wow. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. And we can still go a little bit here if you guys want to break down what Marty said. If you guys have any questions in the chat, because that was a whole lot of fun. Marty Brodeur, of course, joining us. The legend, right? Like Michael Dunn says that was the weirdest exit from a video ever. Michael, we're trying to work out the kinks here. This is the first live guest that we've had on the show, so we're trying to work out to see how it goes. We did a bunch of tests. Me and my bosses did a bunch of tests, but we I guess we didn't really perfect the exit there because my bosses were using the phone, and I usually use the phone when I come here on the StreamYard. Shout out to StreamYard. But that was awesome. I mean, I think there was a couple interesting little takeaways there. They're not concerned about Markstrom. They think that he'll be able, he thinks that he'll be able to kind of get back into the groove there, just by pure, experience alone and just his veteran acumen alone. Let's see and Jay Snow. Best question was from Jay Snow, was asking about what do the Devils need to add at the deadline? And I think when it softens the blow a little bit when it comes from a fan, and that was great for Jay Snow to really ask that. No, I know that, Michael. I know Michael says that it was it was by Marty, not me, but that was great. Yeah, the Devils. I think that's an intriguing ad, and I think that we'll spend the next couple of days parsing through exactly which kind of players Marty could mean by that. Adding skilled but gritty guys. The premier top of that list would probably be Tage Thompson, right? Like that's if you want to get the superstar version of that would probably be the top of the list there. I think Nazem Kadri, like that's a guy that would have that would also qualify there. A guy that Blake Coleman. Michael Dunn says Blake Coleman. That's another great suggestion there. Getting him back in the mix there, getting Pickles back in the mix there. Giants Nation Show. Bobby Skinner says amazing exit. My man Bobby. It's on this side. My man Bobby. This is the reason that we're doing these shows. He's inspired me to do this. That was a lot of fun. Nick Santola says Alex Tuck. That's another good suggestion. If the Sabres, implode and keep, at the pace that they're going now, I think they're getting a little bit better than they were to start the season, obviously, because I don't think they had a win to start the season. But that would be another one that you could probably poach away. I bet you, like the cream eventually rises to the top of the NHL. The good teams that will eventually probably be the good teams. I don't know that this Pittsburgh thing's going to last. Maybe you can poach someone away from Pittsburgh, but I don't. I think that eventually in the Atlantic Division, you're going to see the cream rise to the top, and Alex Tuck is going. Buffalo's going to wind up being bad, and you could probably poach a few names from there. Duck Gusev says Gritsyuk praise from the GOAT. My Thursday is made. Next time, let me count for him. Right? That would be. I would hate that because I think that no other guest would try to come on the show if we had Duck Gusev do this little number thing that he does. PM Drizzle says, "Can you get Frosty as a guest? I bet he'd be a dynamite interview. Legend of the game behind the scenes, 100%. There's a reason that." For me and Frosty, we're good pals. I would love to see him get on the show. That'll be a request that I can put in within the next couple of weeks here. I think that would be a lot of fun. Little programming note: we're going to try to do, now that we have the precedent set with Marty. We'll try to be consistent and have Thursday be our guest days. It might not always be at 10 a.m. But Thursday I feel like is a good, like, okay, the week's winding down. Like you want to get a good guest on this show, and we space out the interviews and stuff like that. So if we could do any Thursday that there's not a game, we'll try to get a guest on, hopefully. We're gonna get the cuss word out of there, Nick. Come on, my man, come on. Jason, but Nick did say, F it, give me pasta. Pasternak would be an amazing addition. There's no doubt about that. Jay Snow says, I heard Pickles is going to get moved. Look at Jay Snow with the sources. I love it. I think that Calgary's one of those fire sale candidates too. You wouldn't. They're really bad right now. Their goalie's calling them out right now. Their goalie's calling out their offense right now. Nazem Kadri's a candidate. Coleman's definitely a candidate. I don't even know who else on that team would be worthy of poaching there. Maybe give me another Flames candidates here, guys, and we can see. I'm going to check out the Flames roster here. You don't want Huberto because even with like 50% retention, that's like a terrible contract. They still have that for like 6 years, right? Yeah, it really would be like Coleman. That's really one that I could see. that's pretty much it. Like Coleman and maybe Kadri if you wanted him. Let's keep. Oh, Jay Snow is just dominating the chat right now. Oh, Sharon Govich. Mike Barnett says Sharon Govich too. Maybe I know he did score against the Rangers the other day, so maybe you want to do that. I agree with you, Jay Snow. I don't know that but Coleman. It'd be an interesting case because he's probably one of those players you don't think would move for a lot, but he's also one of those players that, as we talk about here, this is a contending team, the Devils. Like they would probably want to keep or sorry, the Flames rather would probably want to sell high and probably get a pretty good price because all these contenders will just want to go and poach him. Jay Snow says, "Would you give up Mercer for Alex Tuck?" It just depends on how Mercer's doing because Mercer's is a major plus this year. He's off to the best start of his career, so I don't know if you want to give up Mercer. And I've been one that was like I've been dangling Mercer in trades for years, even when he was like really good on the 22-23 team, just because I was like, who cares? Like just throw away Mercer. Like you can replace him with a star that fits your timeline now. But it feels like Mercer's kind of like rising up to that timeline now. So I don't know if you want to necessarily deal him. Beachmaster says, I still have it in my basement. But that was an awesome story. That was an awesome story. He had to contact CCM to get one of those, like old goalie pads. And that's so cool. One of the old chess pieces. Snow Friedman. I guess Friedman says that what's it called? That Coleman might be available in trades. Kadri's, but his age, man. How old is Kadri? Like, I know he's definitely up there. You can just see here, yeah, born in 1990. Yeah, oh my gosh, yeah, he's really old. You you folks born in the early 90s are super old. I'm joking. I'm a 90s kid myself, but I'm a 1999 baby. Let's see. I guess Kadri's been benched already this year. I didn't know that. So maybe that wouldn't be the best to see there. I thought the other interesting note that Marty had was like, and I know we talk about this like every interview, like every single Devils exec likes to say, making New Jersey a destination. And that wasn't a thing back then. Like even when they're winning cups, it just didn't. Like he says that wasn't like necessarily a thing. It's intriguing now that a lot of these players are wanting to go to New Jersey. So maybe you can get a big splash. And have them re-sign here at some point. Nick Santola says, I like what Luke has done, but I need this team to add a bottom six center. Yeah, look, like Luke Glendening, that's like first of all, I thought you were saying Luke Hughes. I was like, what are you talking about? But no, Luke Glendening has been an awesome PTO. Like this is about as great as a PTO as you can get. So I don't know, because that is such found money there, and of course, but of course, like at some point you want to get an upgrade there, like if you can, because even with the injuries right now, like at some point, do you want to move not Paul Cutter? Do you want to move Cody Glass like down to the fourth line? I know the Devils are pretty high on him being a third line center, but do you want to maybe have Mercer be a permanent mainstay in that top six? Do you want to get Cody Glass back and move him to the fourth line at some point because he's such a strong defensive guy? Maybe that's not necessarily as gritty as you want or sizey as you want, but he's definitely is a great defensive forward. So I don't know, like do you want to upgrade a 3C? Like that's always been the big that was like the thing that Devils fans were clamoring for, that and a top six wing all summer. So maybe you want to add that. I don't know. How do you guys think the interview went? I think that was really fun. Is there anything else you wanted me to ask? I think we covered a lot of bases there. Michael Dunn says, I think a depth D man should be looked at too. There's always injuries, and Casey is more go forward than stay at home. Yeah, you saw that in that Colorado game the other day. Like I thought the highlights, like I said early on in my stream, that the early on notes that I had on Casey from that Colorado game, it was very much positives in the ozone, right? And he was definitely holding his own there early on in the game, and then things just started to spiral. So I don't know. Depth D man, sure. I mean, do you want to add another right shot D man because you're going to get Kovacevic back, and that's already going to create kind of a logjam there? Do you want to add someone on the left side? I don't know. I don't know. But certainly would be something that you could add. Beachmaster just says thumbs up. Kadri's 35. People, Jay Snow says Sharon Govich. Okay, I said that it was Kadri. There you go. It was Sharon Govich that was mentioned. I remember seeing that too. Mike Barnett says, try early 70s. You're all whippersnappers. Love it. And then Jay Snow says, Novo covers the Devils, and it's taking years off his life. You have no idea how many years that 1 year covering the Giants took off my life. So it's nice to be back in a team that has won 8 games. They won 8 games. I covered 4 wins last year. The Devils have already doubled that, and it hasn't even been a month into the season. And Michael Dunn says, at least he isn't following the Jets. True that, man. Although they did get a win this past week. Nick Santola, yeah, I had a rough time with the last name and autocorrect. Jay Snow, he brings 0 offense. Glendening, really, you want Glass to be the 4C. Yeah, as I just mentioned, and I know that the Devils going into the season, like I talked to people around the building that just said, this is one of those things that maybe they want. Maybe they want Glass to. They're fine with Glass being the 3C. But I don't know if it's necessarily their number one preference. Like if you can get a different 3C in there that isn't Glass, like I think you'll definitely take that. Let's move on. I really want to see Luke step up without Pesci. He looked bad without him. I think everyone looked bad without Pesci, but yeah, Luke in particular didn't have the best of games last time out. You just I think what I'm looking for in this stretch is that Luke is paid as a top defenseman now. He's paid to be a top pair defenseman. There's no, you can't be a middler and make $9 million a year. And that's not to say Luke has been a middler. Like he hasn't this year. But that one game against Colorado, I don't think was his strongest, obviously. And that goes, to say for every defenseman there for the Devils. But during this West Coast road trip, let's see if we can get some really strong Luke Hughes games without Pesci, because I think that would ease any concerns that, any fans might have. Not that they, have over concerns about Luke Hughes, but they just want to see him elevate to that top pair defenseman level. Tyler Seba says, I didn't want to get rid of Blackwood. Letting go of Dawes would be the same thing. We need to buy into good young goalie. And that's the question, when it comes to Markstrom. Like, I know that Fitzgerald seems to want to push it across the finish line now. He seems to want to get this extension done now. But it's like, do we want to really rush this? Do we want to force this thing? Do we want to see? Do we really want to get rid of Dawes, and have him thrive on a team like, say, Edmonton or something like that? I know Edmonton's always the example that gets brought up because I don't think anybody believes in Stuart Skinner. I don't know. Like, I don't know. It's a hard thing. Or does Markstrom pick it back up, and do you want to still because I think even if Markstrom picks it back up, it's still a risk because of how old he's been, how old and rusty he's looked. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with these goalies, and that's why I'm really glad we got to pick the brain of Marty today, and we'll kind of go back and dive into what he said during some of those answers. I thought his it was intriguing what he said about Jake Allen too. He said a bunch of other teams were vying for him. I can confirm that Philly, I think, was one of the teams that was strong on acquiring Jake Allen this summer. And he said that Allen, that other teams offer him a lot more money per year. But the Devils were able to get him to bite because of a whole lot of factors. He was comfortable year one, and he liked the long-term aspect of it. Let's just take a sip from my drink here, and I just accidentally ate a piece of ice. Oh, that's great. That's great audio right now, me chewing on a piece of ice. Sorry, everybody. Lou says, I'm still kind of new to hockey, but there are a lot more right-handed D-man in the league, or is it a Devils thing that we have a lot? This is a purely Devils thing. Like it's so interesting that you mentioned that, because the Devils have an overabundance of right shot defensemen, right? The one thing that you always hear execs say, Tom Fitzgerald says this all the time. He's like, right shot defensemen, they don't grow on trees. A good right shot scoring defenseman don't grow on trees. So it's like, the league is always trying to find them. It's always like a premium position that the league is like, oh, like we need right shot defensemen. The Devils are just having overabundance of them to the point where when Kovacevic gets back, it's going to be a legitimate conversation of who slots into the lineup there. So, yeah, this is definitely a Devils thing. I don't know the exact numbers to see if there's any like right versus left, but I would imagine there's more left, one, and two, like just having skilled right shot defensemen, puck moving defensemen, guys that can kind of set the offense too, guys that can quarterback the power play. It's definitely a premium in the league. Jay Snow says, I agree that Luke's making big money. It's year 3. It's time to take a step forward. No doubt. Michael Dunn, what is Silyev's ETA 2027? I believe, I would have to check in with his agent. I talked to his agent a number of years ago, but I remember that being the number. It was 2027. I wonder if he's going to be one that steps right into the NHL lineup too. I know that the scoring has been kind of an issue there down in the KHL. Dan McKinnon didn't seem overly concerned about it when I talked about it with him, but you want to have like more. He has like 1 point in like X amount of games, something like that. It's like at some point you want to, as a top 10 pick, you want to definitely score more than 1 point in the K. Let's move on right to your harder to find. Yep, more of a premium. Michael Dunn says seeing Blackwood and Wedgwood thriving in Colorado, can't deny that it hurts a little bit. Yeah, no, there's no question about that. That losing those two guys to have them thrive in Colorado has been just kind of like if the Devils didn't find their goalie solution, it would just be another feather in the cap of the Devils' cursed goalie situation. Quick reminder for you guys, please be sure to like and subscribe. I gotta tell people to do that more often, but I'm gonna just do a little bumper right here. Hold on, I'm gonna remove this comment. Where is this? Like and subscribe, please. If you haven't done that, if you have not liked and subscribed to this channel, I'm going to hunt you down. I'm going to chase you down, and I'm going to be really upset that you didn't do that. Because we need to grow this channel if we want to do the things that we want to do. We want to take this show on the road, maybe. We want to be able to go on the road more, so we need you guys to like and subscribe. Thank you for that. Back to the banner, back to the comments. Let's see. Tyler Seba says, okay, hold on. We moved on. I think we already answered that. I don't want, Jay Snow says, I don't want Markstrom long term. He's always been inconsistent. Yeah, I mean, look, like he's definitely, I feel like when he's at the top of his game, like he's a really good, like he's a top 8 goalie in the league or something like that, like when he's at the top of his game. But right now, it's just the inconsistencies have been ultra prevalent. That has been not so great to see from this rusty start for Markstrom there. Allen was always going to be the starter this year. Somewhere else, if he didn't sign here, no question about that. Like he probably would have been Philly starter. No question. I know that Philly was one of the teams. I don't know the other teams off the top of my head. But Philly was one of the ones that in my reporting I was able to dig out that Philly was definitely interested. Duck Gusev says Markstrom has always been frustrating his whole career, even in his elite years. He makes incredible saves that he has no business saving, but lets in ones that he shouldn't. Just a weird phenomenon with him. I remember, I think it was the 23-24 season. That was one of the major things. It was like him and like John Gibson were the two goalies that like I feel like the Devils were always linked to. And it was like I remember John Gibson was like sick during one of the games. Like everyone thought he was traded to the Devils because it was like Devils versus Ducks, and he like left the game for sickness, but everyone thought they traded for him. But anyways, that's just I digress. I remember Markstrom being so like he was such a curious case that year because he was so elite and there was no question about it. And all those fancy numbers, everything was great. And he went on a stretch there where it was like incredibly hot. But then when he drops off, it's like the drop offs are always so dramatic for him. So I don't know what the exact deal is there. Maybe, I don't know exactly what maybe I have to dive into that. Nick Santola says that's what always drives me crazy about the Covey extension. We have so much and so few spots to play them. I had someone mention in the stream yesterday, and give that a view if you guys want, because that was, I think weird timing wise we did that. But if you can give just a play on the recap, it would be a huge help for us. And again, growing this channel will be a really big help. Someone mentioned that should they trade Kovacevic, and I don't know that they necessarily will because I think they're really high on the player. But it's gonna create a headache when he's back. Probably, after 2026, it's definitely going to create a headache for the Devils there because they have a lot of the right side of the defense. Maybe like Nemec falls off a cliff, or he continues, this hot stretch, and the Devils are able to dangle him in a trade for a superstar. I don't know, but they're going to have to deal someone away. I feel like because you can't just have one of those guys sit on the bench. They're all too valuable. Oh, no. Michael says it is a kind of lame. Nichols started a Devils related YouTube page immediately after you did. No, Nichols and I like Nichols and I have been talking about this for years, and I support everybody on our beat doing what they do. Nichols has a good show. He's got an episode today, so go check it out. Jay Snow says if you look at Marquis saves, he's really bad versus medium and low danger shots. Yes, I remember seeing that, and I think the first two The first two goals against the Colorado the other day were both of the low danger variety, from what I remember checking. Um, but yeah, I feel like he's always been one of those guys that's at the top of the list, because I remember checking that a couple years ago again when the Devils were linked to him. All those, when they eventually, it was the season before they ended up eventually trading for him. So I guess that was the 23-24 when they missed the playoffs and fired Lindy. Um, I remember seeing him always at the top of those high danger lists, but then his save percentage was always just weird, like just baseline save percentage. That William Eklund can fly. He sure can. Amagi Legacy says, can't wait for Kovacevic to come back, and I hope he's able to swiftly pick up where he left off. Favorite player. Great penalty killer, and really great in the pairing with, I think, is it Siegenthaler or is it Dylan? I can never remember who he was paired with last year, but obviously it wasn't here. But he was really good with whoever his D pair was. That was awesome. Mike Barnett says Markey's best days were 7 to 10 years ago, and the other than one outlier season with the Flames a few years ago, he's been steadily declining if you look at his career stats. Yeah, I got to do a little Markstrom deep dive here. I think that might be a little project for me today, just diving in. Michael Dunn says subscribe, but I must admit this is the first one I've been able to attend. Michael, I appreciate you subscribing, my friend. Please subscribe. Please come to more because we have a lot of fun here, Michael. It's been a heck of a lot of fun. We want to grow the show. We want to be able to do little live shows, and on-site shows, like sponsors available. Sponsors are welcome. If you want to have us at your brewery, if you want to have us at your restaurant, if you want to have us at a diner, if you want to have us at your bagel store, something like that, we're willing to come do a live show wherever. Live shows outside of the Prudential Center. We want to be able to take this show on the road. Live shows outside of road games. If you guys are, outside of New Jersey and you want us to take a live show there, maybe we'll go do that. But we can only do that if you guys subscribe to grow the show and keep spreading it around. Beachmaster says we play the Sharks tonight, right? Yes, 10 p.m. 10 p.m. games, the dreaded 10 p.m. games. We will not be going live tonight. We'll be going live tomorrow to discuss this game. You guys let me know what time works best for you on Fridays. Like, we could do maybe an afternoon if you guys are like slogging it at work or something like that, or we can do, an evening kind of situation if you have no plans tomorrow. We want to get the most viewership. Or if Fridays, so I guess tomorrow's Halloween, so you guys might be busy in general. Maybe we don't even do a stream for this game. Maybe we do. Maybe we get crazy and tonight's game is crazy enough that we end up doing a stream after tonight's game. Maybe it is. It'll kind of depend on the vibe. Follow me on Twitter at Ryan Novo NHL, and I'll let you know exactly what we're doing for the live show. Because it might be tonight, it might be tomorrow, or it might be Saturday or something like that. I don't know. Oh gosh, Beachmaster reminds me that it's 12 hours from now that game. That's gonna suck. Shadow Voltroon says, really do wonder what Markstrom had that someone like Gibson or any other goalie in the league had that Fitz needed him so badly. I think it was just like the perfect storm. I think that Markstrom wanted out of Calgary. The Flames, I believe, were on like a little fire sale back then. They traded away a lot of guys back then. And the connections there were just too valuable for and Fitzgerald was able to get him at a price that I think that he liked, and he didn't want it. Because I remember Anaheim, correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember like there were reports coming out that Pat Verbeek was like really crazy about this Gibson return. Like he wanted someone described it as extortion. I think it was Friedman that described it as extortion in trying to trade for John Gibson there. So maybe that was the reason. Moving on. Jay Snow, Covey and Siegs were so good last year, and Covey brings a bit more bite to the lineup. Yeah, and that's going to really elevate the penalty kill, obviously, which has been great so far. The outlier game last game. But that Covey and Siegs and just getting Kovacevic back. I keep always calling him Kovechkin because I think Keith called him Kovechkin one time. Getting Kovacevic back is going to be huge for the lineup in general, just defensively. It's going to can you imagine what Kovacevic is going to be able to do with this new defensive structure under Bradshaw? That's going to be awesome. Let's see. Michael Dunn, I meant to sarcastically, knowing how much. No, of course. No, I always get on Nichols. I think I've told Nichols too. You freaking copier. No, I appreciate that, Michael. It's good stuff. Jason, no, Fitz does like to deal with Calgary. That's why. I mean, I don't know. couple deals with him. Who was the one that asked in the chat? I got to go back up. Somebody asked just an insane question they try to ask Marty a question. Yeah, I'm gonna pin this up. Somebody wanted me to ask freaking Martin Brodeur this question. Hey Marty, should the Devils trade Markstrom, Siegenthaler, Squires, Yegorov, and a 26th fourth rounder to Bruins for Swayman and a second rounder? Tim Frith, you are absolutely insane, but I love it. Thank you for tuning in. That was a great question, but you're absolutely insane if you think I'm going to ask that to him. Let's see. Okay, that was same question that you just did. To answer your question, no. I think that Swayman's actually off to a better start, and I think that he might be a good change of scenery candidate because the Bruins are just such an S show right now. But but if you can get him at the cheap, I just think that's way too big of it. That's way too steep of a price. Like I wouldn't give up Siegenthaler for that. Yegorov definitely not either. I know the Bruins do love their local college guys though, so maybe. Big hole when Siegs got injured. Yep. Michael Dunn says live stream from American Whiskey. It's speaking of the Devils. Yeah, I'm more of a Reds guy, but I'd be willing to do whatever. I'd be willing to do whatever if any of them would have us. Again, sponsors welcome. If we want to do American Whiskey, if we want to do Reds, I don't discriminate at all. I would love to do any of those. Mike Barnett says we should do a live chat from Wawa. Yes, we could do it from the Ewing Wawa right against my right near my house. That's a lot. Yeah, I think you're referencing maybe the trade that Tim Frith had, which was definitely a lot. Michael Dunn says, "Do you like or not like reporting from the West Coast trips?" I like traveling, so I would love to be on these trips. But it's just the way the business is right now. I would love to. We're going to try to get to a lot more trips this year, and really do it. But I'll tell you what, like. The numbers wise and in the chat, like being able to record from home right after the games has kind of been nice because we can go right from the final buzzer and we don't have to wait for like the press conference and everything. As much as I want to go on these road trips, it's just, kind of like better for the show, I guess. But I do like the reporting that I get on some of these road trips and I just like seeing the country too. But like, there's always good value in what we can get reporting wise. Lou asks, Halloween special for Speaking of the Devils. Novo, do you have a costume? Yes, I do have a costume. I'm going to be Walter White. So maybe I'll dress up on the stream. If we do a stream tomorrow, maybe I'll dress up. Maybe I'll be in my Walter White costume. My girlfriend is going to be Jesse Pinkman, so we'll see how that works out. So we got it was funny because all these like hazmat suits that like they wear on Breaking Bad, obviously, when they're cooking the meth. All these hazmat suits that you get at Spirit Halloween were so expensive. Like they were like, $40 to get like a stupid like plastic hazmat suit. But then if you go to Home Depot, they're like $14 for like a legit hazmat suit, a legit yellow hazmat suit. So it's better quality, it's more realistic, and it was cheaper. Kovacev Kukovsky. There you go. God. Shadow Voltron says, so you think the Devils trade Dawes and plan for Yegorov, or do you think Dawes has a chance? I think Dawes has a chance to stay. I don't because I know I just like in talking to everybody across the organization, they're just so high on Dawes, but not enough to like edge him out over Markstrom. So I don't know. It's curious to see what they end up doing with him. That's like one of my main storylines I'm following this year, what they end up doing with Dawes. I wanted to do more digging into it, but it's like everybody that I talk to has nothing but positive things to say about Dawes, and this is all off the record too, or not off the record, but like anonymously. So I don't know what they end up doing with this kid because I think I just feel like it might end up being one of those situations where you just end up regretting it for years if you just let this kid go, especially young goalie, and he's proven to be pretty really good and poised too. Let's see, Eddie. Strakia says Reds over American Whiskey. Yeah, I've listened. I can't really discriminate because I just been to Reds more because it's more the place that like Devils employees go and stuff like that. I certainly have to check out American Whiskey. I've had the wings there and stuff like that. Really good food there. Really good food. Nick Santola, that's something I wanted to ask you over DM, like travel related to the business. Nick, I really have to answer you. I'm so sorry. It's just been a crazy kind of couple days here for me. And I gotta go get my dog. I gotta go get my poor dog who's been laying here and being so good the whole time. I gotta go get him a haircut after this too. So it might end the stream in a little bit here. But it's for his first haircut. It's gonna be great. Beachmaster says might have to go to Raleigh for a game. Oh, I went to Raleigh for the opening game, and the tailgates there were awesome. Maybe we can do like a little tailgate setup there, and show the Devils what they're missing out on, kind of like from moving away from the Meadowlands there. Nick Santola says I love that. I'm imagining maybe you're talking about my Halloween costume. I don't know for sure, but we'll see. Eddie says, "Oh man, I'm sorry, Eddie. We already asked this." He said, "Can you ask Marty? Does he regret the jersey, and why did they not create?" I don't think he has any regrets, and I think the jersey kind of grew on a lot of people. And I think that it was able to turn into a mastery. I think the jersey served its purpose, right? I think it was able to turn into a mastery of marketing. People talk about the jersey. Marty talked about himself, the hat, and everything like that. What they were able to create from that. In addition to, I think a lot of fans, it grew on a lot of fans because the Devils had success in it. I don't think he has any regrets there. I think I will, Jay Snow. I think I might have to. I should go to the candy store today and get some like rock candy for that, because I know they did that. The way they Devils play in Raleigh, I don't know if I would go to that game. I already went to one game in Raleigh this year, so and they lost. So maybe we should stay away from some of these road trips. I don't know. And then Nick just says, yeah. Well, that'll do it, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into the stream today. It was a lot of fun, chatting there with Marty Brodeur. Be sure, once again, to like and subscribe. We're going to try to get a guest on every Thursday, so tune in on Thursday. So we kind of are getting in the swing here. We got the Mailbag Mondays every Monday that there's not a game. Every Thursday that there's not a game, we're going to try to have a guest on, and maybe some even when there is a game. And then we're going to do live streams after every game. So we're kind of getting into routine here on Speaking of the Devils, NJ.com's YouTube destination for all things New Jersey Devils. But that will do it for this show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for subscribing. Be sure to share this with all your friends. Be sure to share it. If you got Marty answer one of your questions, you better share this to every single one. Every single person in your family group chats, on your Twitters, on your Facebooks, whatever. Share it and spread the word about our show, because we can do a lot of fun things here. For Ryan Novozinsky, have a great day, everybody.